Are you the rich dad or are you the poor dad? It's a must read to find out. Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm sorry, I know I mispronounced his name. He goes over this in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, in the book, he contrasts two fathers, as he calls it. He had two male figures in his life. One, his father, the person that he grew up with, the person who raised him, and another man who taught him business and wealth building. So he referred to his father as the poor dad, and he doesn't say it in a mean way, and he has no animosity towards his father, but he contrasts these two men throughout the book. The second man was a business owner who was quite wealthy and handled finances and looked at finances completely different than his father. So in this book, he explains just some of the key differences would be mindset. The mindset of the rich dad versus the mindset of the poor dad. The mindset of the poor dad was more risk adverse, more hold on to cash. The mindset of rich dad was willing to take a risk, but invest in things that would build him money. So one was focused on assets and one was focused on essentially liabilities or items that didn't create wealth. He talks a lot about overcoming fear, and he goes over how to become the rich dad. It's not just a book about rich dad and poor dad. There are actionable items and stories from Robert's own life on how he accomplished this. He also talks in depth about Rich Dad and what he learned from Rich Dad and how he discovered Rich Dad and what Rich Dad was doing and how Rich Dad was doing it and then how he did it. Now, maybe a negative here would be Robert is not afraid of debt. He actually utilizes debt. I tend to be more of the Dave Ramsey school of thought here, where debt is something that you really don't want to use. I'll go ahead and say I blend between the two in real life. So I tend to be a little bit more debt adverse, but Robert outlines his thoughts on utilizing debt to your advantage. Whether or not you believe debt is good or bad, reading Robert's thoughts is definitely worth it. He will lay out some deep things for you to think about, and he doesn't go into this haphazardly. Definitely food for thought, even if you don't agree with debt. There's so much other content in this book about creating wealth and becoming more like Rich Dad. Also, if you're a family man, have kids, and want to teach them well, reading this book will help give you a better mindset on how to educate your family, your kids, about money and finances in general. Really wise people, even if you disagree with debt, wise people read things and learn things from people they disagree with. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are anti-debt, and there's a lot of people that are all for debt. Either way, this book is a fantastic read. The wisdom and the knowledge in here is absolutely useful regardless of which side of this equation you follow. Overall, I highly recommend it. It is life-changing, not only for you, but as Dave Ramsey would say, it is life-changing to change your family tree. It definitely gives you a new perspective on assets and liabilities and how you would go about creating wealth-building assets, things that will help you for years to come. Instead of grinding away every day to try and make a buck, this is finding ways to make things make you money for the long term. This way you're not constantly grinding, chasing every dollar. Your assets are building dollars for you, not only today, but into the future. I hope this is helpful for you to understand a little bit of what Rich Dad, Poor Dad is about. And like I said, I highly recommend it. I believe it's a life-changing read, something very worthwhile. Go ahead, pick up your copy. I will leave a link down below. I hope this is helpful for you. Have a fantastic, awesome day.